So we continue to get the outlook from analysts, executives, economists around the country and beyond on the expectations for Nigeria's Monetary Policy Committee, which meeting kicks off today, decision tomorrow. Arise business analyst Chika Mbonu is with us. Thank you so much for being with us. You're welcome, sir.
Today.
I'm fine. Welcome to a new week. So yeah, look, obviously I want to get your thoughts on what you think. We had Bloomberg who thinks they're going to get a 50 basis point cut, but what do you? I was a little taken aback myself. What do you expect from the MPC?
I would think that there are some things that I will not do.
Yeah.
If we're in that room, or that will not happen. The first one is I don't believe that the rate will be increased.
Right.
Okay. I don't think that rate will be increased. I also don't think that there will be aggressive reduction of the rate. Those are two things that I know will not happen, or I will not support. I will not think will happen. Not support if we're in that room. And then, but I would think that also there are so many good reasons why I will vote for hold.
Okay.
Basically, I'm saying that we have come out, or we're coming out from a massive storm. Like a plane that has been a massive turbulence. And then we just barely, a lot of the parts of the plane, we don't know how bad the turbulence has affected the parts of the plane.
Yeah.
So we should be very careful in making any introductions, any alterations, until we think the plane has stabilized. So I'm saying the fact that the economy has been very, challenged.
Yeah.
Luckily, Governor Cardoso, who happens to be, today is his second year in office. Congratulate him on this. Has stabilized things, and but we are not out of the woods yet.
Yeah.
And I will say, let's use the next 2 months to cross the T's and dot the I's, and make sure that the things that led up to this positivity, we tighten the knots a little more to get a little more stability. Now, that is one thing. But I'm also saying that a lot of parameters that will support a nominal, 25 basis points reduction in the interest rate, if we want to follow the trend like everybody is doing around the world. But I think for us in Nigeria, we don't usually follow the trends. I believe that support that will hold things for the next 2 months.
Yeah.
And then get things a little more stable, watch the exchange rate a little more, focus on food security and stuff like that. This inflation that's already happening, we just make sure that it reaches the last mile, because things are happening in paper, but the citizens of the country are not yet really feeling them.
Right.
And so also getting a little more right in our oil production, as I said, and then before we start easing.
Yeah.
That's my own. But I said there's enough on the ground to say, let's do 25 basis point reduction.
Okay, fantastic. We'll see how things turn out. Lovely to get the different views on what to expect. Now, since we're talking about the CBN, it is, of course, the regulator of the banking sector. We had two banks that released half-year earnings on Thursday or Friday, I believe. United Bank for Africa and Zenith Bank. Which would you like to tackle first?
Before I actually look at the results of the two banks, I would rather, first of all, look at the macroeconomic environment.
For the banks?
For the banks, that have existed half year 2024 and then half year 2025 up to June this year, that these results replicate or represent. And because the environment, the two environments, have affected the decision of the banks, which also filtered into the figures that we may be looking at. The first thing you see is that the half year 2025 is the first thing is that we have an environment of this inflation happening in Nigeria now. Whereas in 2024, inflation was accelerating, peaking at the point when they started the deceleration. And so this will affect its use of interest rate, the real incomes, and so on and so forth.
Yes.
In last year, 2024, GDP growth was about 2.3 in Q1, with a weaker momentum. But now, in half year 2025, the GDP growth is about 3.1, up to June. So that is also has affected the results. The other thing, very important, is Naira has been relatively stable for the half year 2021, 2025. But look at 2024. Remember what happened? Very sharp Naira devaluations, and which led to all those wide gyrations on income that banks booked large FX revelations.
That is correct.
This time around, that is not there in most of their P&Ls. And then CBN has kept the policy rates, right, a little stable in half year 2025. Unlike last year, they were in the hiking phase. So again, that will affect the rates. Net open position on the FX, which is important. What existed in 2024, whereas in 2025 that was not, and that affected the FX positions. The recapitalization agenda was just starting in 2024. So you find 2024 results, there was no recapitalization costs.
That's right.
Whereas in 2025, it's more of capital costs that are in there compared to 2024. Of course, net interest income in 2025 was higher, as you will see in the results. And then, of course, non-interest income, ROTUs. Remember, again, the wide gyrations in 2024.
That's right.
With a lot of income. So with this background, you can look at the results, the banks.
Thank you for that. Thanks for setting the foundation.
The results of the banks tie into that. If you look at Zenith Bank, for example.
Okay, Zenith,
I give you the gross earnings, top line, grew by 20%. This is basically the gospel just goes into the world and preach the gospel, and everything that is income, bring it into the basket, for them. That's no matter the cost, just bring it in there, And so for the Zenith, it grew by 20%, which is good, which is very commendable. Now, but the issue now is that if you move from the top line to the bottom line, the bottom line now, let's be at the profit before tax level, came in at, at 14% less. Compared to last year. Now, remember the issues I raised now, about the difference in the economics, macroeconomic environment. Now, one of the things that happened in 2025, remember, that caused a lot of furore in the industry was what? The forbearances.
That's correct.
The forbearances. And it caused a lot of problems, not in the industry. So, forbearances for Zenith Bank, for example, payment charge increased by about 83%.
High.
So these are now eating away from the massive growth in their gross earnings. Now, even the positivity they had in the net interest income, and the interest expense reflects the major role of the bank, which is financial intermediation. Go there and get deposits, and then lending to people. How do you do that? How profitable do you do that? And that's that. For Zenith Bank, it was a positivity in that. However, you can see the payment charge grew by that. Now, another thing I mentioned here was that the wide gyrations we had in 2024 about FX income, which affected non-interest income, trade income, which was affected by FX, didn't happen in 2025. And those cumulative issues have led to the fact that despite the growth in gross earnings of 20% in Zenith Bank, the profit before tax fell by about 14%. Now, but I mean, balance sheet growth, customer deposit growth grew by 7%. Again, tells you that customers have confidence in the bank. They're still putting their money there, and it's growing. And of course, total assets grew again by about 3%, marginal. But it tells you again that the bank is growing in size. But you see, at the end of the day, what do you end up in? You look at the ratios. Size is important. All those things are important, but let's look at some of the ratios. One of the first one is the cost-to-income ratio. How is the bank efficiently running itself? For every 100 naira that it makes, how much does it spend in cost to make it? In 2024, Zenith spent about 39 naira for every 100 naira they made. In 2025, it was about 48 naira. So you can see the impact of inflation crept in, into cost, and then with other things like the recapitalization costs also came in, and cost of funds, cost to income rate, cost of risk, return on average, everything for Zenith was in the up. Now recall one issue that when we did the program on forbearances, I told you that. Remember one of the things CBN said: if you don't sort of for forbearances, you cannot pay dividends.
That's right.
And then we said the first check for us by half year, when the results come out, are those banks that pay dividend, if they don't pay dividend, that means they have issue with their forbearances.
Yeah.
Now, luckily, Zenith, remember I told you that the impairment improved by about 80-something%, which means they have taken all their provisions now. Zenith even went forward to pay dividends of ₦1.25, one above the ₦1 they paid last year, and they wanted to come and tell the shareholders, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And we salute the them. Umeji, the MD, remember it's
meteoric rise in the company.
The company, the first MD to declare 1 trillion in profit after tax under her tenure. The bank's rights and public issues oversubscribed by 160%, and plus other commendable things she's done, plus other awards, the migration to new software, and so on and so forth. So our sisters are actually,
working in the banking sector.
When you mention the ladies, remember Onyali Igbe in Fidelity, and these in the industry, these are known as the tigresses, like that. So that's that for that.
Chika, you know what? We can extend this because we run out of time. Because you went to in-depth, we're going to tell our viewers that we do UBA half year tomorrow, and then also get your reaction to MPC.
Okay.
Thank you so much for the insight. Really appreciate it.